this interview. I think it's like 35 minutes. And it wasn't just Elon being interviewed by Bret Baier, but it was a lot of the Doge team. And it wasn't like these youngsters that you've heard so much about. The Democrats have complained about teenagers getting all the access to our data. These are CEOs. These are highly, highly entrepreneurial, professional engineers. They come from all kinds of different business backgrounds, and they're literally doing what they're doing with Elon's Doge team out of a sense of patriotism. And I made this point after I watched the interview that if you watch it in full and are still mad about what they're doing, you're a complete idiot, or you're on the receiving end of some of the fraud. You're getting money that you shouldn't be getting.
Well, without
there's
question. Yeah.
There's just no explanation, or you're buying into the fear mongering of the left, which is just total lies.
Like Elon stealing your money, blah. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, whatever. I've got some like tidal wave insurance to sell you in Indiana if you believe that. Hello. But I wouldn't have been mad if it were the young people. I wouldn't have been mad. It's interesting that they're, obviously they're going to trot out all the businessmen and people like that but I mean, if it were the young kids,
some of them are absolutely phenomenal.
Right. If they're smart and they know what they're working for the American people to expose fraud and waste, why do you be mad about that? Who cares who's doing it as long as they're doing it?
That's the thing. It's such a disingenuous take. You know what I mean? Like anybody who is arguing against what they're doing is they're just being they're believing lies. They're idiots, or they're on the receiving end of the fraud.
Absolutely. Without
that. I mean, that's the only, those are the only options. So we've got several clips to share, although obviously watch the whole thing if you haven't. I tried to pull the very best, but man, it was really hard to pick, you guys, because there was so much good stuff covered. The first part was with just Elon before like the whole team came out. And Bret Baier, who I think is a phenomenal interviewer, I think he's always just been really, really, really good at this. He asked Elon to comment on that whole controversial take that Elon had when he called Mark Kelly a traitor. And that was because Mark Kelly is just so willing to send our soldiers to Ukraine to fight a pointless, senseless, stupid ass war. And Elon called him a traitor for feeling that way. And then everybody attacked Elon. So Bret Baier asked him about that. And Elon, you can tell Elon gets a little bit emotional even when he responds. This is the longest of the clips, so just bear with it. But this is great stuff from Elon.
A lot is coming your way, but sometimes you say stuff or post stuff that gets attention. You give it out, in other words. Democratic Arizona Senator Mark Kelly posted on X about his trip to Ukraine to push for continuing to send U.S. weapons and support there, and you posted that he was a traitor. Well, why do that?
Well, I think somebody should care about the interests of the United States above the interests of another country. And if they don't, they're a traitor.
Yeah, but he's a decorated veteran, a former astronaut, a sitting U.S. senator.
That doesn't mean it's okay for him to put the interests of another country above America.
Right.
Obviously, there are some Republicans who think supporting Ukraine is the right thing still, but there is a battle back and forth about how do you think it comes to an end?
I think his kid's in the background.
I know, I can hear it.
There will be a negotiated peace, and the thing that we should be concerned about is we should have empathy for the thousands of people that are dying every day in trenches, for no movement in the lines. So the borders remain the same. For the past 2 years, thousands of people have died every week for nothing. For what? And I take great offense at those who put the appearance of goodness over the reality of it.
Yes, oh my God, yes.
Those who virtue signal and say, oh, we can't give in to Russia, but have no solution to stopping thousands of kids dying every day. They just want that to continue forever. I have contempt for such people. I don't want to make that clear.
Yeah. So you're optimistic.
Because they're virtue signaling, and their lack of a solution means that kids don't have a father. It means that parents lost a son. For what? Nothing.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, people who hide behind their service in order to say I'm above criticism
Right.
make me sick. I'm talking to you, Dan
Yeah.
Crenshaw, talking to you
Yes.
specifically. But I like that makes me crazy. I was a veteran.
Mhm.
I was a veteran, so you can't screw you. I don't care if you were a veteran. Then you should actually know better than the rest of us that that's not okay. It's not
Yeah.
okay. Like you should put America first. God, it drives me
Cue
insane.
Dan Crenshaw taking you out of context right there, saying, if you're a
Right.
veteran, screw you, I don't care.
You hate veterans, Daisy. Let me go ahead and
He would totally do that.
I'm going to manipulate this entire clip and then make you look like you hate veterans. It drives me insane.
He would absolutely do that.
Of course he would.
So as you can see in the still of the video that's about to start, these are some of the gentlemen that are part of the Doge team, and Brett spent time with each of them. We're not obviously going to play the whole interview because we don't have time to do that, but he was asking the group, why did you leave your whole lives behind to do this? And they do this because they feel a sense of duty and honor and obligation and patriotism to the country. Here's a little bit about that.
Do you guys all see this as a patriotic duty? I mean, is that really what this is about?
It's essential.
Very much so. I do, 100%. I was running 5 businesses in Houston, and I left that. I left great people to do this, and my wonderful wife said, go for it. And here I am. But I feel like this is me giving back to the country.
If we don't do this, we're sunk. The ship, unless this exercise is successful, the ship of America will sink. That's why we're doing it.
For you.
God, you know what? White males really suck, don't they? They really suck.
You guys, we have mentioned this before. We actually recorded earlier this week with our BFF, Dr. Mike Fulgens. He is the numismatic, I think I'm saying it right, numismatic consultant, which means he is a gold and precious metals expert at First Fidelity Reserve, which is now the place that we are getting all of our physical gold and silver. And they right now have this really cool thing where you can get a 1 ounce 0.999 fine American silver eagle for $35, free shipping. This is the coolest thing to get for kids and grandkids because it's only going to appreciate. And if you listen to the recording that we did with him, which comes out on Sunday, I believe, you will hear how much higher gold and silver is about to go. He was the only one. He was one of the few that was projecting that gold would hit the heights that it did. Everyone else was like, no, it's never going to hit like 3,000. You're crazy. And then it did. And now he's saying where it's going to go next. And he's talking about where silver is going to go next and why this is such a great buy for yourself, for your kids, for your grandkids. You can get it today by calling 800-336-1630, or you can just visit firstfidelityreserve.com. Just make sure to tell them that the chicks sent you. Remember the other day, there was a cabinet meeting where we heard, who was it that told this? I think it was Doug Burgum, who told the story about how they uncovered an almost billion with a B, $1 billion payment for that survey, which was like a survey monkey survey that could have been done for like a few $1,000, and somebody got $1 billion for it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that Brett asked Elon and the team was, what's been the biggest surprise as you've gone through this process? And the surprise is just the amount of fraud, waste, and abuse. And that survey came up.
What's the most astonishing thing you've found out in this process?
The sheer amount of waste and fraud in the government. It is astonishing. Mm-hmm. It's mind-blowing. We routinely encounter wastes of $1 billion or more, casually.
Oh my God.
For example, like the simple survey that was literally 10-question survey that you could do with SurveyMonkey, cost you about $10,000. The government was being charged almost $1 billion for that.
For just the survey?
$1 billion for a simple online survey. Do you like the national park? And then there appeared to be no feedback loop for what would be done with that survey. So the survey would just go into nothing. It was like insane.
How can you be against this? How? If you're in the camp that is like, no, but we should be spending $1 billion on a survey that
right?
That basically AI can write. We should be. I'm okay with that. You are not the same as me. And you're not okay. You're not okay in the head. Like, you've got to get that checked. Something's seriously wrong with your mental capacity. You got to see somebody about that. We got to study these
That's
people.
why the saying liberalism is a mental disorder is so true.
It is true.
Yeah.
Like, you're running on hate, man, because that's all you got left. Because you can't rationalize this anymore. You can't.
Yeah. Elon describes what Doge is doing as a revolution, and I tend to agree with him. Here's more on that.
Well, this is a revolution, and I think it might be the biggest revolution in government since the original revolution.
Right.
But at the end of the day, America is going to be in much better shape. America will be solvent. The critical programs that people depend upon will work, and it's going to be a fantastic future. But are we going to get a lot of complaints along the way? Absolutely. You know, one of the things I learned at PayPal was who complains the loudest and with the fraudsters. It's a tell. There's some of these NGOs that are crazy, like the $2 billion to Stacey Abrams' NGO that basically didn't exist and suddenly gets $2 billion awarded from the federal government. She has why? And there are many such cases like that.
And why doesn't somebody like that go to jail?
I would love to know the answer to that also.
I would really like to know why she is not held accountable, because if it is in fact fraud, which it is,
clearly,
why is she not rotting in jail somewhere? Because I got to tell you, if I don't pay my taxes on April 15th, I saw somebody wrote in here that I am completely fixated on money, that I have like some sort of an unhealthy obsession with money. Yeah, I have an unhealthy obsession with money. These people are stealing from me. If you don't have an obsession with that, I'm sorry.
Oh my God, then you pay it all.
Yeah, you by all means, you write the check.
What in the world?
We were not meant to spend the percentage that we are spending on taxes. If you're okay with that, with rolling over and doing it, by all means, you pay my fair share.
There you go. Yep.
Because it's theft. Taxation is theft. They are stealing from us. And if people can't see that by now, I can't help you. They're stealing from us. They're stealing from our kids. They're stealing from our grandkids. They're stealing from hardworking Americans. It is theft, you guys. Nobody should be okay with this. Nobody.
One of the takeaways too from this is not just that these are, accomplished, super qualified people to be participating in this revolution, but they're also just good men. And that was super nice to see. There's one of them who is there. Brett Baer even calls him the COO essentially of Doge. And he doesn't, you can tell he doesn't even want to accept that as a title.
Right.
But he talks about, why he is part of this revolution.
And now essentially you're the chief operating officer of Doge, day-to-day operations. Fair to say?
Yeah, part of the Doge team.
So how did you end up here? What's the biggest challenge you see?
The reason I'm here, which is probably for many, is that I think the goal is incredibly inspiring. I think most of the taxpayers in the country would agree that in order to have the country going bankrupt would be a very bad thing, and therefore the country going not bankrupt is a good thing. That all of us are willing to kind of put our lives on hold in order to do. I think the thing that's special right now is we actually believe there's a chance to succeed, that there's an administration that's supportive and a great cabinet and just a great group that will actually make success a possible outcome. And I think that's, given the inspiring mission and given the non-zero chance of success, it was worth doing.
It's very inspiring. It's so inspiring to see this happening. I also think it's divine. I think we're in listen, I don't talk about God a lot on this podcast. I just don't. It's not my place to do that. We don't do that. But I will say, I think this is a time of like spiritual warfare. We're in it. We're like in the thick of it. And I think this is like if we don't do it now, it's not going to get done. If we don't win this war in the next couple years, we are cooked, man.